Hello students, welcome to second video of third chapter, which is glimpses of the past. Students, up to first video we had covered first to fourth points of this chapter, and the remaining points of the lesson we will have in this second video. So let's start the chapter with the fifth point, which is operation. It is from 1765 to 1835. We can understand by reading these lines and the pictures that the Britishers continued to find new ways to being misery and suffering to Indians. For example, they passed unfair regulations that kept them at an advantage, like the Regulation 3rd in 1818. British continued to oppress Indians. In 1818, they had passed Regulation 3rd. Under it, an Indian could be jailed without trial in a court. So they passed Regulation 3rd in 1818. Under this, an Indian could be jailed without a proper trial in court. As they continued to suppress Indians, they created all sorts of favorable circumstances to uplift their officers. Second picture shows this point. All the time British officers in India drew big salaries and also made fortune in private businesses. The British officers drew huge amount of salaries and could deeper their pockets by making a fortune out of their private businesses. The British were exporting goods in huge quantities from Britain to India. By 1829, they were importing goods worth 7 crore rupees to India. As a result, the Britishers grew richer and richer, leaving the Indian industries high and dry. Governor General Banting had conveyed to Britain that the bones of cotton weavers are bleaching the plains of India. To highlight the plights and misery of the traditional cotton weavers in India. It means that the cotton weavers were forced to starve because of the cotton mills set up by the Britishers. They produced much cheaper cloth with the help of machines that led the traditional Indian handicrafts to extensions. Sixth point is about dissatisfaction from 1835 to 1856. Education in India was in Persian and Sanskrit. In 1835, an Englishman named Macaulay suggested a change. Which change? All the teachings were in form of Persian and Sanskrit, only in two languages. So in 1835, a British officer named Macaulay suggested that they must translate all of it in English, so that the education is delivered in their language. They did so to produce clerks to get their unimportant clerical tasks and administrative duties like answering the phone, typing documents, filling and liaising with clients done, etc. In the process of doing so, they manufactured a whole new generation of masterminds. English education produced clerks to whom the British gave petty jobs under them. Incidentally, it also produced a new generation of intellectuals. They manufactured a whole new generation of masterminds who wanted to uplift their brothers too, their brothers also, by educating them. They wanted to strengthen their financial prospects that could lead a promising future. But they needed to convey this to the British Parliament. Britishers, on the other hand, Britishers could not care less about the needs of the Indians or Indian people. By this time, Indian people had become more worried that their kings were now being treated as puppets in the hand of Britain or Britishers. They had lost their old jobs and lands. Britishers were forcing some of them to change their religion. Indians were tired of talking and wanted to do something like that. By 1856, the British had conquered the whole of India. The red portion you can see, it is of the English territory, British area. By 1856, the Britishers had acquired all parts of India. You can see in the picture. 7th point is the spark, 1855 to 1857. Taxes continued to ruin the peasants. In Bengal, the Santals, who had lost their lands under new land rules, became desperate. In 1855, they rose in rebellion and massacred Europeans and their supporters alike. The ever increasing taxes imposed on the peasants, on the farmers, continued to pressurize them and worsen their financial condition, their financial situation. The Santals in Bengal became disheartened and hopeless after they lost their land to the Britishers under the new land rules. In 1855, they launched a rebellion and massacred Europeans and all those who supported them. The people working under the East India Company were highly dissatisfied too. The fact that they gave Englishmen good payment, pensions and other help, while they gave Indians only inadequate payment and slow promotions. Further, agitated Indians, they felt bad that Britishers urged them to move out of their land to cross the sea and work for them, which was even against their religion. They were motivated to drive the Britishers out. See in the picture, Indians were talking to each other. Indians were motivated to drive the Britishers out. An Indian soldier under British or European orders named Mangal Pandey even attacked the adjutant of his regiment. Sepoy Mangal Pandey attacked the adjutant of his regiment and was executed. But he was later executed. Around thousands of other sepoys like Mangal Pandey took violent action against the British, but were only robbed of their uniform. Thousands of other sepoys revolted. They were stripped of their uniforms, humiliated and put in iron. They robbed of their uniform in turn to make the sepoys feel humiliated. Some of the Englishmen even began to understand how Indians thought, how their mind works. Few Englishmen had cared to understand Indians' customs or people's mind. So they understood the Indians' mind, their mind works, and their customs also. So they told Brahmin soldiers that the bullet they were supposed to bite is covered with the grease made of cow and pig fat. In the next picture, chapatis were being sent to each home in every village, conveying the message that their services could be required to fight the Englishmen, and the people agreed for that. Lotus flowers also were circulated among the Indian soldiers. The nation stood against them with the support of the mass in the form of shelter and other help to the patriots. Eighth point is about revolt. In 1857, in the revolt section, the urge to free the nation of the Britishers continued to grow. The city of Meerut also experienced a violent outbreak. The sepoys marched and moved to Delhi to support their emperors like Bahadur Shah. The revolt continued to spread and grow. They even got the support of the landlords that had also lost their land due to the new land rules. People were angry and wanted to fight the Britishers. Many landlords had lost their lands because of the British policies, and they were sore. So they also were included in the revolt. Ninth point is the fight for freedom. Again, 1857. Many former rulers were bitter too, because the Englishmen had taken control of their kingdoms. Leaders like Maulvi Ahmadullah of Faizabad motivated the people to free the country of all the Englishmen. In the second picture you can see Maulvi Ahmadullah was motivating the people to free the country of all the Englishmen. People of Bareilly, Kanpur and Allahabad rose forward too. Former rulers like Begum Hazrat Mahal, in the first picture, she is Begum Hazrat Mahal of Lucknow, joined them because her kingdom also had been taken by the British, thereby strengthening their power. Entire North India came together in large numbers to fight the pitched battle against the Britishers. In the light of this, Azimullah Khan expressed his thoughts to Tatya Tope that they should have Peshwa Nana Sahib as their leader in this war of independence against the England. In this revolt against the British, 80 years old Kunwar Singh, in the last picture you can see, 80 years old Kunwar Singh of Bihar was hit by a bullet in the wrist, which he dedicated to Mother Ganga as an offering. He is telling Mother Ganga, this is my last offering to you. So students, this chapter is over here. We finished the second part also. We completed. I hope you understood the chapter. Thank you. Have a nice time.